Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Pam.
And today we are going to show you this wonderful bed runner behind us that's called Spring Rain. And so this was a pattern that was featured in the Spring 2016 issue of Modern Quilts Unlimited.
Wow. And I love it for lots of different reasons, but I love that gradient fabric, so it went from the dark to the light. And look at this beautiful hand quilting that she did with this. And she just made a circle all the way through. It looks beautiful.
Right, and she used, this is Vivian Parrott, she used sulky threads, and then the fabric is choice fabrics. It's their Supreme Solids.
Excellent.
So what we want to do though, there's a special technique that Vivian used where it's really basically creating your own fabric.
I love it.
And then cutting it with the with your cube.
And this is a great project. Maybe you're a modern quilter kind of looking for a new twist. Actually, I think it's a great way to use your scraps. So basically what we've done here is we have created strips of fabric that we have sewn together. And these strips we also created separately. Now, quilters, we talk about lengthwise grain of the fabric all the time at AccuQuilt. Just be aware that as you create your own fabric, that lengthwise grain is sometimes going to get a little wonky, but try your best to make sure you're cutting it with the straight of grain. So basically what we're going to do in order to make this particular block, we've cut this here, so I'm just going to sew this piece together. So basically we cut it at an edge. And I'm just going to start here at the top. I'm going to do that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Again, quilters, it's not going to make a big difference in this particular fabric because we're making our own fabric.
Right, and we used to call this technique double cutting because you're cutting it once here and then we cut it, take this that we've created and we cut it again with the die.
One of our really great examples is that using the wedge die, we have a great pattern for the wedge die where you can make your own fabric and double cut it there as well. All right, so I'm almost here to the edge. And I've just done a 1/4 inch seam allowance like we always do.
Yeah, and it's great how there's no right or wrong here. There's, yes, you want to use your 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you know, really, you can have fun with those angles.
Right.
And
so now see, I've added a whole new different angle to it. So I just want to press it open, press it away. So take our little handy dandy iron here. I'm just going to press it flat a little bit real quick so you can see how great it looks. And then I'm going to show you how quickly I can just put it together to the other pieces. Now I would suggest, quilters, that you cut all of your strips and fabric first, then sew it together, and then cut it with your GO dies. So here's that other piece that we cut it from. So now look, I can just take and sew this together here. See how cool that looks? So I'm just going to take this little piece right here. Again, it doesn't matter if it's matched up or not because we want to have that kind of funky look on it, that modern quilt look. All right, just going to stitch it together. And then Lynn, which size cube are we going to use today to make our squares?
all right, so we're going to use with this project the 12-inch cube, which we've got right here. And the die that we're using is the number 3, which is the 6-inch finished half square triangle.
And I love the 12-inch cube. It's actually my favorite, just because you can get those big projects right away done real quick.
I also love the fact that it's compatible with the 6-inch cube.
Right.
So you can use both of those really easily together.
So I just want to iron this out a little bit before we cut it. And then Lynn is going to just subcut it for us and show you how easy that is to use when you're using our AccuQuilt dies. Okay.
All right. So we're going to take our ruler and our rotary cutter and we're going to measure the width of our shape and we're going to leave a 1/4 inch on either side. So of course this is 6 inches as we mentioned.
Right.
But it's actually with both of them, it's about 7 inches across. So we'll add a 1/2 inch, so 7.5, and then we'll cut our strip.
Great.
Okay. So I'm going to cut this side first, just to get this kind of squared up. This is a real unusual.
So we're basically just subcutting, so as we run it through the rotary cutter, you don't get all that bulk and you don't waste fabric. We recognize that even as you're making your own fabric, you don't want to waste it. And look how pretty that came together in all those different shapes and all of those beautiful colors.
Okay, so that should give us a nice piece.
There you go.
All right. And then we're just going to lay I'm not sure I can get 2 pieces out of this.
Oh, let's try. Maybe so.
Okay, it's going to be close.
Okay.
And we should be okay. I know we want to stay with our 6 layers, and we've got a couple of seams covering each other, but I think this should be all right. We're going to try it.
And again, quilters, don't worry so much about that lengthwise grain. We recognize as you make fabric, it's not always going to have that lengthwise grain. Look how fast and easy that was. Just so easy to cut those half square triangles.
Okay, all right.
So now look, not only did it cut the fabric, but it went through all of the seams and all of the bulk that was there.
Oh,
so look how cool this is.
Yep, so that one's a little bit odd, but this one's great.
Okay.
So,
and this one actually you could use, it works just the same. So then because we have our half square triangles, and at AccuQuilt, all of our geometrical shapes that have, first of all, they have that 1/4 inch seam allowance built right in, but on all of our shapes that have points on the end, we've actually cut those dog ears off for you. So right along here, this is now your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we could take these, I'm gonna pin it so it stays together a little bit easier, but we could just take it together and chain stitch it to make this beautiful square. So I'm just gonna start right here at the edge. I've cut off the dog ears so I know where my 1/4 inch seam allowance is.
right, and so we can kind of get our blocks set up here and know that we just need to finish off these 2, and then with our half square triangle, and then we could finish up that block.
All right, now I've taken that half square triangle, I've followed my guidelines because the dog ears are gone, and look, now it's made a perfect square every time because we've cut it perfectly and we've sewn it with that 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Right, so we've got, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Great way to use up scraps and really create a modern looking bed runner. Super fun.
Look how great that is.
Oops, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, all right, so then your next steps would be just continue with the same and lay your blocks out. The other block is made with the, in the bed runner, is made with the 12-inch cube. So the different pieces from there, and the pattern is wonderful. It has really great instructions.